So you have a tender read and your love overlanding. You have plans to do it big on the trails and some super glamping. One idea, deep news and reviews, a podcast the first rate and here just for you. You don't have to think about it, join us and be about it. Something interesting we want to hear about it, come on let's talk about it. Welcome to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints Podcast.
Sponsored by Midland, communication for every adventure, the industry leader in radio communication technology and innovation for over 50 years. Sponsored by My Medic. Sponsored by Tembo Tusk. Sponsored by Shower Pouch. Sponsored by DeMoss Collective, mission built and made for mobility. Sponsored by BrewTrek. Sponsored by Hard Impact Designs.
Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Hey, Phil, how's it going today?
I feel good. I got my coffee, I got my water, and I'm ready to talk.
Good. I had some coffee and I have some water, so we're equal there, I guess.
We have some coffee coming from Expedition Joe Coffee, and we have some coffee coming from your boy Mike. Yep. Talk about Mike's coffee.
Yeah, it's coming. I mean,
so he let you know it's coming.
Yeah, he had sent me a message asking where my current location was. So I messaged him back and forth, and he said we're gonna be talking coffee. So I mean, I always love to talk coffee, and we'll do some taste testing, I guess, right?
What's the name of his coffee? Do you know?
You had to put me on the spot right now, didn't you? My brain is not working. I'm getting not enough oxygen from my chest here. It is. Give me a. Yeah.
We'll come back to that. We'll make sure to let people know.
I'll think of it in a second because it's gonna. I know it a million times. I have it. Probably have it here. Yeah. Come back to me in a second.
Yeah, we've had his coffee before. Yep. Isn't it called like Deep Canyon or something like that?
Yes. There you go. Yes.
Deep Canyon coffee?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to get some from Deep Canyon Coffee, and we're going to taste test his. And then we've got some coffee coming from several other people. So down the line, we will be trying different coffees. And no one has asked me to favor their coffee or give it a good recommendation. So they're giving us this coffee, and we're going to let loose on them and let whether it's good or not.
Yeah, so I'm curious which ones he sends, because I've had a couple of his blends. I mean, he stayed at his homestead there in Colorado for a little while. We've got the opportunity to taste test some of his different stuff. So I know it's very good. So looking forward to that.
When I was returning home on my trip from Alaska, he invited me to where they actually roasting the coffee, which was I loved hearing that. You know, a lot of these coffees, especially in the industry and segment we're in, is just a lot of rebadged coffee.
Mm-hmm. And theirs is roasted in North Carolina.
Right.
Yeah.
This is when I was on the East Coast with you.
Yeah.
He invited me to check it out. I just didn't have time.
Right.
Well, like I told you, I would like to, if I have a good story to tell, I would like to start our podcast telling about somebody who's out there doing it or just did it, somebody notable. And just for those listening, you can hear more. I basically took this story from the Washington Post. His name is Torbjorn Peterson. That's Torbjorn, Torbjorn Peterson. He visited all 195 countries without flying. And he originally planned for it to be 4 years, but it took him 6. So that's still incredible. He's 44 years old, and he ventured about 260,000 miles via cars, trains, buses, taxis, boats, shipping containers. And I could go on and on about his story. There's a lot of details about it in the Washington Post article. I think it's an interesting story, and congratulations to Bjorn Peterson for this accomplishment.
That is crazy because, to be honest with you, just to be able to do that in 6 years is amazing.
Well, like I said, I left out a lot of details. He actually worked in the international shipping industry prior to this, and it helped him considerably in there were actually even parts of it he would not have been able to do if he hadn't been able to broker a deal with a container company and they just let him be on the ship and go.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of advantages. But if you're really interested in doing something, you'll figure out what advantages you have. You'll have advantages no matter who you are. You just got to figure out what those are. It may be in the planning portion. It may be in the building of your vehicle. You have to make the most of what you got.
That is true.
So once again, shout out to Mr. Peterson and his accomplishment. And like I said, you can go right on the Washington Post. They have an article about it. So I wanted to let everybody know that backpacking without landowner permission is legal again in England. You know, the court struck down the public's right to wild camp in Dartmoor National Park in January, and hikers lost the only place in England where they could disperse camp without getting the owner's permission first. And now an appeals court has given it back to them.
Interesting.
So there are a lot of people. That news is going to be very interesting to, especially young folks that they're usually the ones who do backpacking across England. So that's good news to hear. And I don't know if you know about how the land is there, but almost all the land is owned. So basically you can't go anywhere and do anything. So there were laws or are laws in place where if you have major pieces of land, people can at least hike through it, if not camp in it.
Yep. Yeah. In England, it's obviously certainly compared to the United States is pretty small, and it is largely privately owned. So it is difficult. It's not a totally different environment, say, than we're used to traveling across. Whether it's North America or Africa or other places like that, where there's a lot of open space land that in many cases you have no idea really actually who owns it. But that's not the case certainly in really in most of Europe is like that.
Well, did you get the pictures I sent you about the Jurassic Park Jeep decals?
Did.
So Jeep Graphics Studio launched a Jurassic Park package to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the original 1993 film.
I cannot believe it was that long ago.
Now, I'm not even going to bother to tell you where you can go to get these because there's only 100 sets of these decals that are going out. So I'm going to provide a picture for those who are watching this video-wise, but whenever this goes out, they'll be gone already because there's only 100, and they're actually they have a serial number and numbering, so only 100. So what did
So
you
it's too
think of
late.
it?
You got to be a Jeep and a Jurassic Park fan, and if that's the case, maybe you already got it.
Yeah. And just it like I said, it's 100 units, and they're only for the 21 to 24 Jeep Wrangler 4xe and the 2020 to 23 Jeep Gladiator, or just the regular 2018 to 2024 Jeep Wrangler. So it's not every Jeep Wrangler. It's basically modern jails.
Yeah.
What did you think about how it looked, though?
Well, pretty sharp. I mean, I've seen Jurassic Park Jeeps out there before, so I don't know if that's were those official or were those just somebody doing it as a knockoff? I don't know.
I don't know that, but I know all of the ones that I'm aware of were knockoffs.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean there aren't some out there that are the real deal. I don't know.
Yeah.
I get a lot of different stuff from different newsrooms of different car companies. And something that I got a lot of in the last couple of weeks is like Ford, Jeep, and Toyota announcing lift kits, and some of them winches and different things that you could upgrade your vehicle. You could either order a brand new vehicle with these things, or you can take your current vehicle and go into a service center and get them installed. And the key thing is these upgrades fall in line with your warranties. A lot of times, most people listening will totally know what I'm talking about. A couple of months into ownership, your vehicle's warranty is no good because you've probably done a bunch of things that have invalidated it.
Yep. Yep. That would be me.
So, like I said, I'm seeing a lot more of these newsroom letters announcing different things like this. Do you think this is a move in the right direction? Or do you have an idea of why you think they're all of a sudden moving in that direction?
Well, I personally, I think it's a long time coming. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't do it a long time ago. I mean, talk about, automobile dealers are supposed to be upsellers, right? So that's the ultimate upselling in that kind of market. People that are buying, whether it's Jeeps or 4RUNNERs or you name it, new Broncos. I mean, I think that accessorizing is all part of the deal at this point. So common sense would tell you that they would, I think the downside or the challenge probably for the manufacturer is exactly what you just said, making sure that, they in effect don't invalidate their own warranty, meaning that they're not doing something that's going to compromise what their original engineer had in mind. So let's take a lift kit as an example. I mean, if Jeep puts a lift kit on their Rubicon or something, they obviously they're going to be more inclined to make sure that they've tested this thing, that it's not going to void or cause damage to something else on the truck. So in that perspective, I think it's a good thing, because I think if you have an opportunity to go do something as an upgrade to the vehicle and you can get it from the manufacturer, and not void your warranty is a big thing. And then two, hopefully they've tested it. So I think I think that's all positive. I would imagine the negative, of course, is going to be, what you can do is limited. And also, I would imagine it's going to be expensive, right? I mean, it's everything from a dealer usually is.
I agree. I see them moving toward this more, and I eventually see the cost going down a little bit. It'll never go down a lot at a dealer, but a little bit.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is just looking out my window. I mean, the average person that's taking their vehicle nowhere is getting a 2.5-inch lift and putting some fat tires on it. They're doing these little upgrades. So it had to be addressed. There's too many people going into a dealership with their vehicle being told, oh no, your warranty doesn't cover this because you did this. So
Yes. Plus, they're looking at it going, "Hey, we could have made money doing this, so we should be."
And Jeep has proven you can make money from it, because periodically up until this point, they'll come out with like an anniversary edition or a special Rubicon edition, where it has like a lifelong warranty on it. It's already got everything on it. It's already upgraded. So it's already been proven that it can be profitable, and demand for it.
Correct.
More news. The world's top 5 electric vehicle automotive groups, their rankings came out, and I'm just going to list those real quick. You want me to start from 1 to 5 or 5 to 1?
Well, I know who 1 is.
Okay, who is 1?
Tesla.
Absolutely. And then you
By
have
far, they have a huge market share. They got a huge head start.
Oh, it's not even close.
Not even close.
And then coming in next is from China, the BYD group.
Yeah.
Which has the advantage of having a whole continent of people, billion plus people to sell their vehicles to. Right. So there's that. Number 3 is the Volkswagen group, which I was kind of shocked about. Not totally, but especially them coming in number 3. I thought they'd be number 5 if they made it. Then you have the SAIC group, which is part of the SAIC GM Welling group, which is basically China and GM. And then you have the Geely Volvo group. And
it's also Chinese.
So that's why I'm bringing this up. That's 3 out of the 5. And most people, I would think, no matter how knowledgeable they are, they wouldn't think just off the cuff that 3 Chinese companies are in the top 3 of an emerging industry. Especially one where this industry partly was supposed to be created to allow us to be economically independent of another country.
Right. Yep.
The first half 2023 sales report for most popular off-road SUVs has come out also. And nothing unusual to report. Jeep Wranglers, number 1 again. Number 2, you have the Toyota 4RUNNER. And then number 3, you have the Ford Bronco.
Interesting.
Yeah, the Ford Bronco is like about half the amount that Jeep Wranglers have sold so far this first half of the year. I thought the Ford Bronco was doing a lot better, but the actual numbers that we see here, not so good. Matter of fact, a difference in units of 16% from last year.
Down?
I would have down, and I would have thought it would have been up. Well, they're all down, but they're the highest percentage down of the 3. So that's something to note also. They're all down when you put these numbers versus what last year was. Jeep Wrangler was 13%. Toyota's was only 7%. And again, Ford Bronco was 16%.
Interesting that Toyota was the least. I got to ask you a question, because maybe you can answer this. What do you think is the draw? Why how do I say this? That's where we get controversial as always. Why do you think the 4Runner is so popular?
I really try to keep this to myself because people are sensitive about my answer.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you.
Okay. Okay.
I could give you an answer too, but I'm asking you.
So my answer isn't every situation. I'm just covering the biggest number. You got a lot of wuss men out here. You know, I'm noted for being a Jeep driver, right? So I've had a lot of Toyota guys come up to me and say, I always wanted a Jeep. I got this 4Runner because this is the one I could bring home. And I could slowly upgrade it. And by the time she realized what I'm doing, it's too late. You bring the Jeep home, it signals lifestyle change. The 4Runner signals, oh, dear, you can take the kids to the soccer game and stuff like that. It's an easy transition bringing your new rig into the household. Most of the guys who are buying these rigs, it's either a joint decision or her decision or at least her approval in most cases. I know don't nobody want to hear that, but that is how the 4Runner all of a sudden blew up. Because I've had many Toyota guys tell me I wanted that, but I've got 2 kids or my wife or something like that. So that's all.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you bring up a point because that's kind of where I was going. Is it seems it's always the 4Runner, particularly now because it's a little. I think it's long in the tooth at this point. It needs an update, but it's very, to me, anyways. It seems to be, of all of those brands that you just mentioned, it seems to be the most generic.
Yes.
So it doesn't have a lot of. I'm going to say it lacks original style. And the only reason that this is all on my brain is because, as you know, this week they released the new Land Cruiser, which I grew up with as the iconic. You know, to me, it was always the Jeep, the Land Cruiser, and the Land Rover. Those were the 3 iconic brands that have been around forever with their original truck and all that. And the Land Cruiser, to me, this is just my opinion, over the years, had, by the time it went away in America, morphed into I don't know how you say this nicely. It's like it morphed into like an old fat guy. Like it was just big and heavy and completely plain and boring ass looking to me. And I don't know how it got there. Like, you know, it started out as the coolest thing, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you look up and, you know, it's like, what is that? That's not a Land Cruiser. In any case, there's been, just from what I've read online over the last week, there's been nothing. I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot of positive. I've seen just a boat amount of negative concerning the new Land Cruiser because so they've made it, as you saw, they made it much smaller. Kind of brought it, in my opinion, a little bit more back to the old days, the way it kind of used to be. But it brings up and begs the question, it appears to be about the same size as the 4Runner, sort of, kind of. Mm-hmm. So the question is where does that go? I mean, how does both of these trucks exist at the same time? And what's Toyota's overall goal? Because it almost seems like, to me, the company's got nobody manning the steering wheel. Like they're all over the place. It's all over. First of all, if you've traveled enough worldwide recently, you know that I don't know how many editions of the Land Cruiser are available right now, but it's like there's like 12 trucks with the same name, and they all don't even look the same. They're not even the same vehicle. So I don't even understand that marketing. I completely don't. I don't understand. I guess it must be the best way. You
haven't even mentioned Prados.
I don't understand Toyota as a brand. I don't get it. Somebody out there explain it to me, because I don't get Toyota at all. I really don't get them. I don't get what they're doing. I just don't understand it. And all of their trucks are migrating, including the new Land Cruiser, are migrating towards, the independent suspension. I think the rear of that has a solid axle, but they're just all over the place. And I just don't know who they're marketing to. And that's just me, but somebody's going to be mad at me now.
And they've moved to 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder.
Yeah. Well, 4, I think. I think they're getting rid of even the 6. I think it's going to 4, really. And
you look at the numbers and the young people, they're catering to young people. who will just look at the numbers and have no experience with it. So you'll look and it's like, oh, it has more horsepower. Yeah, but you ain't gonna feel them horsepower.
That's right. Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, their stylist to me is like video game. That's what my big complaint about the last 4Runner was. It's very spacey look. I don't know. I don't. It's too much for me.
So let's address that. Since we were talking about the three different companies originally, why does Jeep consistently win?
Because it's classic. It hasn't changed what it looks like. I think because it hasn't. Look, I could pull a Jeep from 1963 and the brand new Jeep that rolls off in 2023, and it's a Jeep. If you don't put any badging on it, you go, that's a Jeep. That's a Jeep. Now, yeah, they look different, but they look pretty similar. As does, I would argue, as does, it's a little bit of the concept that comes out of Land Rover. I think they kind of screwed the pooch with the new Defender too, but you can see the Land Rover family. The Bronco, you can see old Bronco in that. I don't see any Land Cruiser in any 4Runner or any Toyota, or I lose the heritage. Like, I would have loved if they came out with the new Land Cruiser and it looked, it was a take on the old classic Land Cruiser, but they didn't do that. It's
Bro, they could have took a regular old Land Cruiser and just put LED lights on it, and they'd have been happy.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I mean. Their stylist is like, I don't know. It's like Japanese animation or something. I don't know. I don't like it. That's just me though. So,
but it don't even look Japanese to me, because you look at other car companies in Japan and they look nice. They look good. Even within Toyota, there's certain cars that they make that look really nice. Yeah, it's something missing about their trucks.
Yeah,
and they've tried to venture off the path for a long time, because the last FJ Cruiser that they ever built, they tried to make it so un-FJ like. Mm-hmm. It was crazy.
Well, and the FJ Cruiser was on the same platform as the 4Runner, right? So it was a different body. It was just they were going for a different look, but they get like to the 10-yard line. There's no touchdowns. I mean, to me, that's Toyota. It's like we're standing at the 10-yard line.
And I'll give you another reason why they're successful. You were talking about their plane, blah 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 blah. Well, you probably right on your table right now have an example of something that you buy all the time that doesn't have all the features, modern day features. Your iPhone, your Apple environment that you're in. Same thing with Toyotas. In general, they basically just work. Ain't no bells and whistles.
Oh yeah. If you ask me what one was probably the most reliable, the Toyota, which once again, it goes back to this vanilla thing. You can bring it home. It's a multitasker. It can go to the grocery store. It can go on a trail in Moab. It can kind of, like you said, sneak your way into an off-road vehicle. It can carry kids in child seats, and it just works. I mean, that isn't. I would argue that Toyota probably has one of the best reputations as a brand for reliability. Toyota and Honda are right up there. I would say that's what I think when I think of reliable. Like, not one part of me thinks when you say Land Rover reliable, as an example. I mean, nothing about a Land Rover is reliable. Old, new, in between, none of them. Right? I mean, it's just the way it is.
So that reliability, I think, also affects the design too. Yeah. And this is what I mean. I think a lot of people don't like the new look. And a lot of people aren't as trusting of the new technology in the latest vehicles. which has increased the value of the used Toyotas even more. So the numbers are outrageous. Try and buy a Toyota truck with some decent miles on it.
Oh, yeah.
You could damn near buy a new car.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they know I can buy that old one and it's going to be just as reliable. I'll get the 60,000 miles I was going to drive out of it. So it puts them in a predicament where there's a demand for new vehicles, but the more discerning person, if they don't like what they get from Toyota's new vehicle, they're very happy buying a used one, which is not money in their pocket.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Anyways, that's just my thoughts on those things.
2 national parks in British Columbia have launched smoking restrictions to reduce the risk of human-caused wildfires. I'm sure you're aware because you were affected by it on the East Coast. There's been all kind of fires in Canada. So this was something that was necessary to be done. And I just wanted to note it, how things are changing, how climate change is affecting our climate. It's burning up, and how it's changing laws. Things are changing. Things are being affected.
And yeah, that's actually a great thing, not allowing smoking in the national park. I'm all for it.
I'm all for it too. I was actually kind of shocked. I was like, isn't that already the case?
No.
Rich Mountain Road, which is in the Great Smoky Mountains, they had to close it due to bear activity after a visitor within their vehicle encountered a bear that has become habituated to humans and vehicles. Great Smoky Mountains National Park officials announced that Rich Mountain Road in the Cades Cove area will be closed to all traffic starting Saturday, which was this last Saturday, August 5th, until further notice. So if you plan on going into the Great Smoky Mountains, that's a popular road to take. Be it known, there's a good reason they closed it off. You go to these national parks, sometimes your favorite road is closed off and you just think, oh, they're not taking care of this place. Well, actually, sometimes they're doing they're doing a lot of care. They're taking care of the animals and the wildlife there. So don't always think that the national parks are not doing their job. Sometimes you just don't know why they've made a decision. Especially if you go to national parks that are in bear country, you'll frequently not be allowed to go on very popular trails. There'll be a sign, if you bother to read it, it'll let you know that it's because some wildlife that's either acting crazy or whatever. So just wanted to mention that.
I saw a video last week of some bear got into somebody's car and ripped the whole front of the car out.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about.
Yeah. Was that the same place?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I probably left a sandwich in there or something. The bear got hungry.
Well, ironically, the article that I read about it that came with the video, it was showing that he didn't like the food and left it.
Yeah. It's funny.
That's a habituated bear.
Right. Yeah, I don't like this. This is not good. This is not Kentucky Fried Chicken. So
this should be right up your alley, man. SpaceX closes in on a launch record with the most recent Starlink launch. Just a few days ago, they had 22 V2 mini Starlink satellites sent out. They should be operational today after a successful launch atop a Falcon 9. And with the success of these 22 satellites, they're closing in on the record for launches in a calendar year. This was the 53rd mission for SpaceX this year, which is well ahead of.
And we still got about 5 more months to go.
Right. The record that they would be breaking is 61. So they only need 8 more to break that record. So that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think all these satellites are going to change the world? And I'm not coming from any particular angle. How do you think all these satellites from Starlink are going to change the world? Because I think they are going to change the world in a multitude of ways.
Oh, they're going to definitely change things. I mean, it depends on who and where and what you're talking about. Like, so you could take for a North American like me, it's changed it's significantly already altered in the last 2 years where I can travel to, where I'm more willing to go and stay for longer. It's definitely affected me. For somebody that is never had connectivity in the middle of, say, Africa or somewhere, it's gonna greatly affect probably education, bringing resources into areas that weren't getting them from before. So I think it will affect poverty. I think it will help. I don't think to be honest with you, I don't see a downside of this other than, I'm going to call it selfish. It gives more people the ability to go more places. So, places that you didn't want to see people, they may be at. But, in reality, I think it's a very positive thing to bring communication, and let's put it this way, it's going to put more people on par with each other than before, meaning that, the playing surface of somebody in New York City and somebody in the Central African Republic are going to be closer because they're going to be able to share the same kinds of resources online. Whereas in the past, clearly somebody in New York City had a huge advantage over somebody in a developing country.
I think that in the last 20 years, the development of these satellites, the ability to filtrate water with smaller technology and solar technology has helped to modernize the third world countries in our world, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
In 1984, they had the Telecommunications Acts, which basically broke up all of the phone companies. And then companies sought to get back together and become conglomerates, basically to build themselves back up. And in the 90s, you had major players like Sprint, MCI, and a few other companies. And all of them had in their top 3 goals, no matter what company they were, this was their dream, to be SpaceX, to be the one that was going to be able to branch their telecommunications business out beyond first world countries into third world countries and be the true internet. So I've coming from telecommunications, always knowing about this dream, always knowing that companies were trying to get to this point, that whether they were battling on the legally or technologically, they've all been fighting to get here. So I'm very interested in seeing where the world goes when some kid in some third world country can actually access the same information as I can, and the way he thinks, and he'll think differently. He'll accept and use knowledge differently. So I think it's an exciting time.
Yeah, I mean, it's happening at a very high rate of speed because these things are rolling out, like you just said. I mean, how they just launched 23 of them. When he finally gets the next, what's the big thing called, the Big Heavy or whatever, the big rocket, that's supposed to be able to put, I think I read somewhere, 80 of them in orbit at one time. So more than triple what they just did this week in one shot. So, I mean, that's one of the goals because they have a V2, and I believe they have a V3, or maybe it's a version 2 large or something, because there's another one that can handle more capacity.
The V2 is that.
Okay.
The
new launch can bring out more of them.
If there's a V3, it won't be coming out till next year. because for a fact the V2 is going to be on the next one that's going, and the V2 is double the capacity of the version 1.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Yep. So it's interesting. I mean, I think overall it's going to solve. I mean, the only complaint I think was that there was so many satellites being set up. One of the advances of these version 2 and probably subsequent is that they may need less satellites eventually to handle the same amount of volume and coverage. But, time will see.
I sent you a pic of a pretty green truck.
You did.
It should be popping up on the screen for viewers. It's a 2024 Nissan Titan. They've announced the pricing, $45,770. It's featuring the most standard horsepower and safety features in its class. And it has 400 horsepower, which is best in class, with 413 pounds of foot torque, which is best in class. Now you're like, why is he bothering to mention this truck at all on the podcast? Well, one, people are really getting into campers lately and buying pickups. And like I said, this is leading best in class as far as horsepower and torque. And 45.7 ain't bad.
Nissan has always struggled, I think, with getting people off of the Toyota, off of the big three, the Ram and the Chevy and the Ford. So, they got to do something to get people over. I feel like they've always been sort of the underdog.
Well, what interested me was the price and that horsepower and torque.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the main things in my mind when I'm thinking of a truck and a camper. I don't want to spend a lot for the truck. And I want as much torque and horsepower as I can get hauling. We've talked about it so many times, gross vehicle weight and what you can tow and what you can carry. Yeah. So I'm interested in seeing how these work out actually out in the field. Because from the numbers, they should be good for carrying campers. They'll be good going up hills. They should be good for towing.
Yep. It'd be interesting to see what the bed dimensions are, whether they match close enough to everybody else's to make sure, because that's one of the things that comes up with, say, like Alucab or any of the camper tops that you put on them, whether or not they fit that particular brand. So, and if not enough are sold, then they don't have them.
I would hope they would do what all the other brands are doing and collaborating with these big names and making sure that their numbers fit. High gas prices have helped. I'm sorry, high gas prices have popped up again, and it falls in line with the high heat records. And that's pretty much because the high heat has caused a lot of issues with refinery outages. Other factors are the prices of the barrel of oil has increased, and they don't see the prices going down any soon. The national average for a gallon of gas shot up to $3.82 this week, which is the highest since October 2022. So I'm only mentioning that because I know a lot of people are in the middle of traveling right now, and they're usually around this time is when you see the prices drop, and they're not dropping. So another battle for people on the road.
And I'm this week I am working on my fuel tank for the new truck, and I'm merging two. One of the challenges with that the big LMTV is that it comes with a 55-gallon diesel tank, which is grossly inadequate for a truck of that size. But I got a second one, and we're going to merge them together. So I basically end up with a 100-gallon tank. And I was thinking about this today. If I went to California right now and filled up my new tank on my new truck, it would cost me $700. Talk about fuel prices. Oh boy.
I don't even want to think about that.
No.
And the vehicle I'm moving forward with, it uses premium. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough.
Mike, you're going to Overland Expo Mountain West, right?
I am not.
What?
You heard it here first. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I can't justify taking 5 days out of my build schedule right now. I'm behind schedule. I've been sick and I've gotten farther behind schedule. But to be honest with you, to get this truck done in time for Overland Expo East and for moon landing that it's supposed to be at in October. There's no, I can't lose 5 days. I get so much done in 5 days. You know what I mean? Like I have 51 days, I think, to work on it right now. And I can't take 5 days out of that. And then I'll be down to 45. You know what I mean? It's like, I had to cancel a business trip too, because otherwise nobody's going to see me again.
Well, I'm definitely going to Mountain West, and ironically, I'll be going to the one I said that I wasn't going to. I'm going to Expo East.
You heard it here first, guys.
And I will be going to the James River Rooftop Rally. And there's a possibility that I might be going to a couple of other events that fall before and after those two events. I'm thinking about going.
What has prompted this East Coast journey there, Phil?
I want to finish. I want to, when I hit the road, I feel very confident in my vehicle, not just in it being able to start and stop, but
do everything.
Yes. So, and I want to know I've learned what I want in the past few months, now that I'm using the vehicle. A longer trip like that will let me know, oh, okay, this is exactly what I want. It's going to help me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I get it. Yep.
And then
in a sense, ironically, I've been doing that for the last 2 years, because the truck you see sitting behind me right now, basically I'm building an upgraded, improved version of this. Mm-hmm. So I've been testing things for 2 years now, and I've figured out, like, I could do this better, or I could do this, or I could change this. In fact, not everything is, by the way, better or more. Some of it's actually less. So I'll give you an example of this. I just finished the cab. The cab is completely built out in the new truck. The whole cab is done. It is nowhere near, because people have said that, this truck here is kind of like, almost looks like an aviation setup inside there. It's super advanced.
I agree with that.
The new one is way simpler, way less built out. Looks similar. I mean, I use the same kinds of, fabrics and fittings and stuff, but way simpler, way less electronic stuff. I just designed it. I'm not putting nearly as much wiring into it. I just, I all sorts of stuff went in there, but at the end of the day, it was stuff that was cool. And some of the stuff I occasionally used. But like when you use something for 3 times in 2 years, it ain't worth having. It's just something else to break or go wrong or be in the way, or, so I use that as an example. So I've got a lot of upgrades. I'm going to be making a list, actually, of all the things I'm upgrading from version 3 or that's sitting behind you and version 4 that I'm building, and compare the two things side by side. But you're going to see there's a lot of things that I've improved on, possibly from a more standpoint. And then there's a lot of things you're going to see that I've improved on from a less standpoint. And they're both equally as important, I think. But for you, when you say you're going to drive out east and go around and do that stuff, that's a test. I can't stress it enough. Testing happens in real life. It does not happen in your garage. I mean, you and I could sit in a garage all weekend and put all sorts of cool shit in our truck and build it, and it's going to look fancy. But then you get out into the desert, and we're camping, and we're both looking at each other like, what the hell is this I put in? This is like in the way, or it's I don't need it, or you know what I mean? So there's nothing better than real life testing. And you do that through camping, driving, stopping at truck stops, going to events, listening to what other people say, all sorts of different feedbacks.
I was letting people kind of pressure me into rushing into building something when that wasn't really what I wanted to do. And now I finally got the mindset, okay, I'm not leaving no time soon.
Mm-hmm. Take it easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I know that, like right now, I could start from scratch and I know I can get my vehicle up and ready. It's not like building out what you're doing. I can be done in 3 or 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So
even what I'm doing at a big scale, I
don't want to do something major and then I could have maybe gotten it free or something like. So I'm slowing up on my. Yeah. I don't want to do nothing major that a few months later I'm gonna be like, man, I wish I had done that. Man, I wish I hadn't have bought that.
Yep, understand.
But most of the basic stuff I've got sitting right in my garage, ready to go. But it's kind of like a Tetris thing when you're in an SUV versus a vehicle like yours. Right. So, like for instance, my slide. Once I put it in on the left or the right, that changes the whole configuration of everything else in the vehicle. So I really want to have a good idea of every inch of that vehicle before I do something major.
Yep. I get that.
Now, things like the tires and lift and stuff that ain't going to change no matter what, I'm going to go ahead and knock them things out. But as far as like, I really want a very kitchen-centric rear end.
Yeah, no, I mean, no matter what size truck you have, it always comes down to the pack. It's how you pack it, what's in it, what isn't in it, how easy it is to get to certain things, how easy is it to set up, get out of camp if you're in a rush. It doesn't matter what size truck. We all share that in common at the end of the day. It's the pack. Because like you said, what kind of tires and your suspension and stuff, that's all periphery sort of on the outside. But what really matters to you as the person that's involved in a trip is your surroundings, your immediate surroundings, which is your interior, really.
I agree.
The heck was that?
I don't know. That must be you. So the past few weeks, I've been giving cheat sheets for creating a trip or an itinerary. Like I've told you a million times, I usually get most questions about navigation. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to try and leave everybody with a cheat sheet for creating a trip or itinerary. And this week, my idea is for you to subscribe to travel newsletters or mailing lists. Mm-hmm. Good examples are the New York Times. You can subscribe to their travel section, and different writers will send you recommendations. A good magazine, Rob Report. Now, I'm not saying that to go on the trips that they're actually telling you about, but if you read the articles, you'll hear about little towns and places that you would have never heard about anywhere else.
Yep.
One that's reaps a lot of dividends for me is I generally, like all 50 states, I have their newsletter. They usually have a tourism board that sends out newsletters. Matter of fact, they send me paper maps every year, updated paper maps. They usually send you a brochure or booklets, depending upon the state and how much there is to do there. They'll have like a summer book. They'll have a winter book. They'll have one for skiing, one for fishing, like For instance, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
They got about 15 different books. You have to check off which ones you want because they have so much information about so many things. The National Park Services, they send out information. BLM, the same thing. And then travelers, in social media. You and I know we get information from others, either by Patreon to them, getting information from them. And a lot of times with that Patreon, what do? They send out a weekly or bi-weekly or monthly newsletter, letting you know about places, telling you about their stories and their itineraries. So a great cheat sheet for creating a trip or an itinerary, in my opinion, is subscribing to travel-related newsletters. And I still didn't mention all the different organizations, departments, and boards that you can subscribe to. There's the Travel Channel, the Food Network, so many things. BBC.
No, there's tons of them out there. And always use everything that you can as a source of information, right? I mean, it's just the more different things you can look at, the better.
I agree. So, bro, is there anything you wanted to announce or say or tell people?
No.
All right, guys, you know what I'm going to say. Stay safe, tread lightly, and hopefully I'll see you here or on the trail soon.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.